In just 4 hours, the BJP loses 5 leaders in Uttar Pradesh. Key OBC leader and Minister Swami Prasad Maurya quits, as does 4 others. The BJP's loss is Akhilesh Yadav's gain. Swami Prasad Maurya tells NDTV why he quit just before the elections. As resignations jolt the BJP, top UP leaders are in Delhi as Amit Shah holds a key poll meeting on Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh's Deputy Chief Minister has now been tasked with bringing the MLAs back. Mumbai sees new COVID cases falling for the 4th straight day. The positivity rate is down to 18% from 30% just 4 days earlier. But Delhi's positivity rate is the highest since the 5th of May. And new rules start, including work from home for private offices. The government extends the deadline for filing income tax returns to the 15th of March. A notification is issued by the Department of Revenue of the Finance Ministry. The Government of India has also become the largest shareholder in Vodafone Idea after its board votes to convert debt into equity. Government of India gets 36% stake, but a thumbs down from investors as Vodafone Idea stocks crash by 20%. In a big jolt to the BJP and Chief Minister Adityanath just before the UP election, a minister and 4 MLAs quit the party and joined Akhilesh Yadav. Swami Prasad Maurya, a top minister and backward caste leader in the Yogi government, said his decision to quit was because of the grave oppression of Dalits, OBCs and small businessmen. In a rare move, the UP Deputy Chief Minister has now asked Swami Prasad Maurya for talks in an attempt to get him to reconsider at a time when it looks like other MLAs could follow his lead.
While Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and his top leaders arrived in Delhi for an election strategy session, a shocker back home in Lucknow. A key minister and strongman from eastern UP quit the party. Along with him, 4 other BJP MLAs. From this image tweeted by Akhilesh Yadav, Swami Prasad Maurya's destination seems clear. The tweet welcomed Maurya and his supporters to the Samajwadi Party.
योगी सरकार के मंत्रिमंडल से मैंने मंत्री पद से इस्तीफा दिया.
The minister told NDTV he quit because he felt the BJP neglected backward castes.
उत्तर प्रदेश के जनता के हितों की अनदेखी कर लगातार उनके विरोध में काम सरकार करती रही. मैंने उचित प्लेटफॉर्म पर कई बार उसका विरोध भी दर्ज किया. बात अनसुनी कर दी गई. नतीजा हुआ कि आज मुझे उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार मंत्रिमंडल से इस्तीफा देने का निर्णय लेना पड़ा.
Maurya, a 5-time MLA and OBC heavyweight, had crossed over from the BSP to the BJP in 2016. His joining had bolstered the BJP's attempts to bring in non-Yadav OBC castes like Maurya's to take on the Yadav-centric Samajwadi Party. Now Akhilesh has been wooing this group, winning over Maurya. And some time ago, another non-Yadav OBC leader, Om Prakash Rajbhar, a former NDA ally. The other MLAs who quit, 2 of whom are OBCs and 1 from the SC community, also voiced the same grievance.
टिकट की लड़ाई नहीं है, लड़ाई है कि भारत को स्वर्णिम भारत कैसे बनाया जाए, जाति व्यवस्था के शिकार लोगों को कैसे न्याय दिलाया जाए, देश के राजपाट में हिस्सेदारी कैसे दिलाई जाए.
सामाजिक न्याय नहीं हो रहा था.
बिल्कुल नहीं हो रहा था.
UP's Deputy Chief Minister Keshav Maurya tweeted this, saying Swami Prasad should reconsider. But this was Swami Prasad's response.
केशव मौर्य बात करने को बोल रहे हैं कि आप बैठ के उनसे बात करें.
केशव मौर्य जी को पहले क्यों नहीं याद आया? आज उनको क्यों याद आ रहा है? इस समय तो सभी बात करेंगे, लेकिन जब बात करने की आवश्यकता थी तो इनके पास समय नहीं था.
The exit appears to have caught the UP Chief Minister off guard, only bolstering the impression that beneath the BJP's massive publicity blitz, resentment simmers against Adityanath. This could be one reason why Prime Minister Modi is increasingly becoming the face of the BJP's campaign in Uttar Pradesh.
But will that be enough to check more exits is unclear. With Saurabh Shukla and camera person Vineet Verma, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Let's get you all the other news from the poll-bound states. The latest Sidhuism a month before Punjab votes is likely to raise hackles in the Punjab Congress. Sidhu says it's the people of Punjab who will decide who will be Chief Minister, not the party high command.
ਉਹ ਭਾਈ ਸੀਐਮ ਬਣਾਉ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਨੇ ਕਹਦਾ ਮਿੱਤਰਾ ਕਿ ਹਾਈ ਕਮਾਂਡ ਬਣਾਉਗੀ ਸੀਐਮ ਹੂ ਟੋਲਡ ਯੂ ਲਿਸਨ ਟੂ ਮੀ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਐਮਐਲਏ ਵੀ 5 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਬਣਾਏ ਸੀ ਐਮਐਲਏ ਬਣ ਗਏ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਡਿਸਾਈਡ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ
In Goa, ex-minister Michael Lobo and his wife Delilah Lobo have joined the Congress a day after the minister quit the BJP. Delilah Lobo is likely to be given the Seolim seat by the Congress. Michael Lobo quit the BJP just a month before polls in the state, saying it was no longer a party for the common man. Let's take a quick look at the COVID situation in the poll-bound states. Weekly cases in Uttar Pradesh are up by over 1,000%. Now, in Uttar Pradesh, there's a 1,433% jump in cases. In Punjab, 1,082% jump in and if you compare it really to neighboring states as well, all seeing a significant jump. So the 6 top states when it comes to growing cases includes at least 3 poll-bound states, or at least the 2 major ones of Uttar Pradesh and Punjab. Overall, India has seen a 470% jump in weekly COVID cases. In states headed to elections, the Election Commission has made it clear in no uncertain terms that all public gatherings are banned. This includes padyatras, rallies and road shows. In poll-bound Punjab, this has forced some parties to get creative with their campaigns. It's resulted in a windfall for digital media and marketing companies. But others are worried that a largely online campaign would have a limited reach. Mohammad Ghazali with that story.
In the office of this digital marketing media company in Ludhiana, the calls from politicians are pouring in, says its owner.
After the model code of conduct, demands बहुत ही ज़्यादा increase हुई हैं. It has grown many-fold as a number of MLAs and the ministers are approaching towards the social media companies.
Press conferences have become the new public rally, like this one by Congress State President Navjot Singh Sidhu.
जो भी इलेक्शन कमीशन ने किया है, the Congress takes a lot of pride in announcing that we are the first ones to adhere to those norms.
But despite restrictions, leaders from Congress, BJP and Aam Aadmi Party were found attending a gathering in Bhatinda organized by the follower of controversial godman Gurmeet Ram Rahim, who is serving sentence for rape and murder. Officials have promised action.
ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਆਈ ਸੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਡੀਸੀ ਆਫਿਸ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਪਰਮਿਸ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਆਰਓ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਲਿਖ ਕੇ ਭੇਜਿਆ ਆਪਣੀ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਦੇਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਹ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੁਣ ਆ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ ਅਸੀਂ ਫਰਦਰ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਕਮਿਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਲਿਖਾਂਗੇ ਜੋ ਗਾਈਡਲਾਈਨਸ ਮਿਲਣਗੇ ਉਸ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ
Leaders of the Akali Dal, which had kicked off its campaign, says not all voters have internet access.
जो गांव में गरीब हैं उनके पास बेचारे को कोई स्मार्टफोन नहीं है, कोई साधन नहीं है, इंटरनेट नहीं है. Rather than saying blanket, they should come out with some. Maybe they should have discussion with a call an all-party meeting.
It's for the first time that the political parties in Punjab will have to re-strategize their poll campaign in the wake of rising COVID cases. And only results will show whether digital mode of campaign really helped the political parties. In Chandigarh, Mohammad Ghazali for NDTV.
Well, India overall reported 1,68,063 new COVID cases in 24 hours. But interestingly, that figure is down 6.48%. Deaths, however, at 277 registered a distinct uptick. 15,79,528 tests were carried out, and that number has gone up significantly as well. Vaccinations stood at 81,51,400, down 0.8%. COVID cases in Mumbai, however, have fallen for the fourth day in a row. Daily cases are down from 20,700 4 days ago to 11,647. And if you look at that curve there, it really does seem to indicate that the third wave could well have peaked in Mumbai, and Mumbai appears to now be flattening its curve. The positivity rate too is down from 30% to 20% in just the last 2 days. 80% of Mumbai's hospital beds are vacant, in another piece of good news. In Delhi, however, 1 in 4 people are currently testing positive, with a positivity rate of 25.65%. This is the highest since the 5th of May. With 23 deaths in the last 24 hours, that number is the highest since the 16th of June as well. The Delhi government today announced new curbs, including a work-from-home rule for all private offices that don't have exemption.
With 1 in every 4 people testing positive for COVID as per the Delhi government, the city now placed under more curbs with private offices to work from home. Private offices will return to the work-from-home model, whereas banks, pharmas and insurance companies will be exempted, including courier services, microfinance offices, essential shops like groceries will remain open, gas stations will be allowed to function, and the accredited press will be allowed to function. The Delhi Chief Minister insists there will be no lockdown.
Lockdown नहीं लगा रहे.
But that is not enough for low-wage migrant workers like 30-year-old Raja Kumar from Jharkhand, who is ready to return home.
इंडिया गेट पे काम चल रहा है, स्टील फिटर हैं हम, और हम झारखंड से, धनबाद से, और हम चाह रहे हैं कि अब लॉकडाउन वगैरह लग जाएगा तो यहाँ फंस जाएंगे, इसलिए सोच रहे हैं परिवार के साथ रहें. इसीलिए हम घर जाने के लिए, हम लोग काफ़ी लोग हैं, 20-25 आदमी, सभी ने ये विचार बनाया है कि अपने अपने घर चले जाएं.
45-year-old Domo Mandal from Bihar says with curfews, his daily earnings as a tea stall owner have reduced by more than half.
पहले लॉकडाउन में मैडम जी तो अचानक लॉकडाउन मोदी जी कर दिए, हम लोगों को टाइम नहीं दिए जो यहाँ से गांव जाने तक का. 8 बजे टीवी पर आते थे और लॉकडाउन लगा देते थे.
लेकिन उन्होंने लगभग अभी कहा है कि लॉकडाउन नहीं लगाएंगे, लगाना नहीं चाहते, लेकिन फिर भी डर है आपको?
मेरे को तो बहुत डर है, मगर हम कैसे केजरीवाल पर विश्वास करें या मोदी पर विश्वास करें.
But restaurants forced to shut down all services except home deliveries are now struggling. For 40-year-old Vijay Sundaram, a restaurant owner, paying salaries and bills is a challenge once again.
हमारे पीछे जो हमारे वर्कर्स हैं, जो हमें इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल्स रहेगा या फिर हमारा जो EMIs वगैरह है जो पे करना है, मतलब उसमें किसी भी तरह के हमें जो है राहत नहीं मिलने वाला है. बस रेस्ट्रिक्शन जो है वो पूरा अपना जो है जगह में उन्होंने इसको फिक्स कर दिया.
Meanwhile, the city's community kitchens and NGOs say they are receiving requests for ration and relief material. With night curfews and weekend curfews already in place, businesses in the capital are just about wading through financial losses, while migrant workers still recovering from last year's shock. What they say is they no longer fear the virus. What they actually fear is a lockdown. With Sushil Rathi in Delhi, Shunakshi Chakravarti for NDTV.
The government has now extended the deadline for filing income tax returns from the 15th of February to the 15th of March. The centre has said this deadline extension is in the wake of the surge in COVID cases as well as because of problems during the e-filing of audit reports. The government is also set to become the largest shareholder of Vodafone Idea with 35.8% stake. The company's board has approved the conversion of interest on deferred spectrum and adjusted gross revenue dues into equity. While the government will now be the largest shareholder, the Vodafone Group will hold 28.5% stake. The Aditya Birla Group will hold 17.8% in the combined entity. But experts say investors have already given a thumbs down to Vodafone Idea's equity dilution, with stocks down by about 20.9%. Another telecom company, Tata Tele, will also be opting for conversion of interest to equity, and the government could get up to 9.5% stake in that company. Foxconn India's iPhone plant is all set to reopen tomorrow, 3 weeks after it was shut down following protests by workers who allege stale food and poor working conditions after 250 workers fell sick with food poisoning. The company says it's implemented a range of corrective actions.
COVID tests for women workers returning to work outside this dormitory run by Foxconn plant for Apple phones. The plant partially reopens on Wednesday, 3 weeks after it was shut down. In December, around 4,000 women took to the streets after more than 100 workers, predominantly women, suffered food poisoning. At the protesting site, they alleged food at Foxconn's dormitories was stale, the toilets unhygienic, inadequate and without running water. Worse, up to a dozen of them were forced to share small rooms. At this college hostel turned dormitory, Foxconn workers are being allotted new rooms. This is one of the improved dormitories of Foxconn where many workers are getting ready as it begins to resume its operations, but none would speak to us. What do you work as? And have things been improved now? Have they changed the situation here, the food and...
Please talk to them.
Now, have they made some changes now?
No.
Though protesters spoke to media last month, now many say rules don't permit them to speak. Foxconn makes the latest models of iPhones at this plant. After the December protests exposed labor conditions, Apple, the trillion-dollar company, put its contractor Foxconn on probation and demanded rapid action. The Tamil Nadu government also told Foxconn to improve amenities at its hostels and obtain the collector's approval before reopening. In a statement, Foxconn Honhoi says it's taken corrective action with a rigorous monitoring system to allow workers to raise concerns even anonymously.
Basic infrastructure for a women in a workplace is much needed, as their toilets and their work environment and of course their canteens. We request the regular monitoring from the government.
The poor working condition of Foxconn employees has come as a huge embarrassment for Apple too, just as it's for Foxconn. It's a huge victory for ordinary women workers who have brought their plight to world attention. While Foxconn would gradually resume operations, it's a wake-up call for other contract manufacturers working for global brands to set their house in order. At Sungavachatram outside the Foxconn plant, with Suresh, Sam Daniel, 4India TV.